Hi everyone, welcome to Studio at Home. I'm Danielle, an educator at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Today we are going to be creating colorful self-portraits with animals inspired by the work of the painter Joan Brown.
You can pause this video or scroll back to any step if you need to.
Brown was a figurative painter, which means that she painted the human body in much of her work. She was from Northern California and worked from the 1950s through the 1980s. Brown was an animal lover, and many of her later works included images of animals and animal-human hybrids, such as a woman with the head of a cat. In her work, Brown plays with both a feeling of flatness and depth, with Brown focusing on lines and patterns in her paintings. Her figurative paintings were often expressive, utilizing bold colors and including images of objects that express her various roles and interests. Brown's work, Self-Portrait with Fish and Cat, is part of the Crystal Bridges permanent collection. See the link below for more information. Here are the materials you'll need today. You can choose to paint on paper, canvas, or a wood panel. You'll need a pencil or a pen, and then paint, a paintbrush, and a palette. Step 1. Begin by thinking about which animals you'd like to include in your self-portrait and select a few objects that represent you or your interests. Now begin to think about how you want the figure to exist in your composition. Will you choose to crop your figure and focus on just the upper body, maybe the head and the torso? Or will it be a full figure, maybe standing or seated? And how will the items relate to the figure? Step 2 is to take your pencil and begin to draw a general outline of your body and the objects you want to incorporate. If you'd like, the animal can sit next to you, or you can combine the animal with the human figure. I have a pet goat, so I'm going to add some goat horns to my own head. And I'm going to do just the head and the upper body of the figure. So I'll start by drawing an outline of the figure. Step 3, once you have a basic outline of the shapes, you can begin to think about the background color and patterns. I'm going to use a green and blue checkerboard pattern for the background, and I'm actually going to follow the grain lines in the wood determine the size of my checkerboard. Step 4, now you can begin to paint in the colors and the details in your figure, animals, and items. So I'm using a lot of bold colors in my painting, both in the background and in the clothing that is worn by the figure. Once I've finished with these background colors, I'm going to end with a black outline to emphasize the flatness of the space. Now that you've created your own self-portrait, we'd love to see what you've made. Please share an image of your portrait on social media using the hashtag #CBFromHome.